We moved into this house, and then the next day we did what any reasonable renter would do. We flew to Florida. Like good little tourists, we did an Art Deco walking tour in South Beach. And when we came back and we saw this cute little pastel kitchen, we couldn't help but think, we're channeling Miami Beach, baby. I'm not one to theme a kitchen, but here I am. I guess I am. In this series, I'm taking you along with me room by room as we decorate our rental in Northern California. It has crooked floors, doors that won't fully close, wall-to-wall carpet, and no dishwasher. But it also has a lot of charm and potential. We're focusing on secondhand furniture, DIYing as much as possible, and sharing what everything actually costs. In the second episode of the series, I'm working on the kitchen. It's a rental, so there's only so much you can really do. We're not going to change the layout. We can't change the cabinetry. However, this is not your average kitchen because this kitchen has a Nook. So we're gonna do a pretty substantial Nook makeover. So this wall came with this cute little oven, but no counter space whatsoever. Just a floating oven. We're going to need to add our own counter space. And it has this really nice hood, which I learned was the original fireplace of the house. So it's like a hearth, big hearth energy over here. In my hunt for the perfect hearth pick, I found a lot of pictures of medieval dudes warming their toesies at the fire, at the hearth, which was funny. And we installed a little hanging fruit basket to optimize space even more. So let me show you what we have in terms of counter space. First, I'm gonna show you the really cool one. Talk about patina. This thing is gorgeous. It has so much age. It feels so solid. We can cut right on it and store our knives. So she's going in there. She fits like a glove. This other one is one we already had, and it doesn't fit perfectly, but she's seaworthy. It's a rental, it's close enough, so she goes over here. And so this one was free. That one was $100 on Facebook Marketplace. Gorgeous, gorgeous. So next up, the Nook. Let's get in there. It's kind of hard to film in here because it's so nookish. So there's gonna be some ugly iPhone shots for sure. So this little room is 6 feet deep, 8 feet wide, and 10 feet tall, and it's really enclosed. It's one of the brightest rooms in the house, so I would love to have banquette seating and maybe paint to make it extra bright, extra cozy, feeling like a little, American diner on Miami Beach. That's the goal. We have some privacy stickers here from the last tenant. I guess they worked at Vans, and they did their best putting this on here. I put in a request to the property management company to fix this, but I don't think they're gonna do it. Also, let's not forget to take a minute to celebrate that the floors are this cute. They're not really tiles. It's kind of like printed on, but it's a lot of fun. This wall has these cute little built-ins, and Austin had the bright idea of putting our dry goods over here. So I just need to refresh some of the labels. We've got the essentials: lentils, rice, popcorn, Cinnamon Toast Crunch, Cheez-Its. One of the quirks of living in a 100-year-old house is that it can be a little stuffy. I was looking for a way to bring some fresh scent into this room without using like heavy scented candles that kind of diminish the air quality. And so I settled on using reed diffusers, which brings us to the sponsor of today's video, which is Droplet, a UK-based home fragrance company. Yes, boys and girls, you heard that right. We've got a real sponsor over here at Lauren Makes. Cheers to Droplet. They're very forward thinking. So they sent me over some of their reed diffusers, and we can give them a smell and decide which would be the best for the kitchen. This one's called Chateau Gardenia. It's like fresh cut grass or after the rain. It has a little bit of a floral scent, but it's also just kind of earthy and green. Their scents are crafted in Grasse, France, which is, if you are uncultured like me and did not know, the perfume capital of the world. This one's called Mandarin Peel, and it has orange blossom in it. I think it's more orange blossom than orange peel. It's pretty floral. I think this would be nice in a bedroom. This one's called Mimosa del Sol. It has Manuka honey in it, and you can tell. I'm getting the honey. It's very beachy and light. I think this is what we want for the kitchen. It's just light and bright. And I like that it comes in this cute little bottle. I can reuse this as a bud vase when all is said and done. I think we're gonna go with Mimosa del Sol in the fun little beachy kitchen. And you can use code LaurenMakes15 for 15% off your order. So check out the link in the description. Thank you so much to Droplet You're the coolest. This little bad boy is gonna go in the Nook, so let's get into this Nook makeover. We've got our banquette seating from Facebook Marketplace for 350 bucks. And I think the light wood kind of works with the counter space that we have now, so I'm gonna shove it in there. I got a couple ideas design-wise to make this Nook cute. One, I'd like to paint, and I think I want to do like a buttery yellow that kind of goes with the yellow tiles. I think it's somewhat of a safe choice, but still really fun and bright. I think it'd be cute to put cushions on this banquette seating. I think it would just like really finish it off. I got some plywood at the local hardware store. And when you buy a sheet of plywood, it's like 4 feet by 8 feet. It's pretty cumbersome, but they can actually cut it down for you at the store. They have this amazing machine that they can like slide through and get a perfect cut. And then I'm just going to put foam down, fabric down, staple the back. Very exciting. I got paint samples for both of these colors, a bolder yellow and a very light yellow. I felt like the lighter one was just coming off as white, and I'm not about to spend all day painting my room white. So I stormed ahead with the dark yellow vintage cotton, even though I was not fully sold on it. I had the house to myself, so I made a royal mess, and I listened to the Weebies and just painted all evening. This is your reminder that the Weebies exist if you forgot. The next morning, I woke up really not feeling good about the color. It felt too dark, just too bold of a yellow, like almost childish. It was behaving a bit better when there were 2 coats of paint, so I could either double down and paint another layer of the same color or pivot colors. So I went back to the hardware store and asked for the same color but with 50% more white added, and I painted again. I had some grand plans for painting stripes, but painting this entire room was plenty, and I just do not have the mental fortitude to paint like 100 parallel lines. When the painting was done, it was time to create the cushions for the banquette seating. My vision was to cut down the plywood pieces to exactly match the section of the banquette seating, using the plywood that was already cut to 15-inch strips. Welcome to the crusty dusty garage. Austin helped with this step. I want to get up and running with power tools, but I was a little overwhelmed with how I was supposed to use this circular saw as a lefty, so I just let him do it. I bought this foam online. It's 3 inches for the seat and 2 inches for the back. It came like it does when you buy a foam couch or mattress, like all compressed, which was exciting. Cheap thrills. Cutting it definitely fatigued my hand, so I would recommend using good scissors. I got this simple blue and white striped fabric and cut pieces to size. The upholstery came together by layering the fabric good side down, then the foam, and then the board. And I made sure the lines of the fabric were oriented correctly. And then I pulled and stapled and wrapped up the corners like a present. I cut the excess off and then used a little bit of double-sided tape to hold the pieces in place. You hardly need to, they pretty much stay in place by themselves. I like this because it was super easy and kind of a semi-permanent option. I can easily remove them and change out the fabric if things change down the line. A moment for the Nook, please. We just had a housewarming and people really popped off with the flowers. It is springtime, so that was nice. So the yellow in here is magical. Cushions were a lot of fun and really easy. By the time I was rip-roaring ready to go with the DIY, I watched one tutorial on how to upholster something and learned that you're supposed to use batting. And so I was like, I could get batting, but I actually kind of want these to have a bit more of like that rigid square look rather than the really puffy, cushiony look. But you know, if I ever want to change the fabric, maybe I'll add batting. Life is ephemeral and impermanent, and this is all just for fun. Looking around here, we put up these 2 pieces of artwork. This was all Austin. He took these pictures in Miami Beach. I think I'm going to paint these, and I'm going to try to use some acrylic paint I already have. And maybe I can get my stripes out that way. I can process all my stripe loving. We're definitely people who cook. We probably cook 5 out of 7 nights a week, so this is an active working kitchen. You would think people who cook that much would prioritize having a dishwasher, but I preferred, you know, a cutesy little kitchen. So my idea for this space, the sink, is to add a little plaque right above the sink with this quote that I found. It's by Thich Nhat Hanh. It's from the book The Miracle of Mindfulness from 1975. If while washing the dishes, we think only of the cup of tea that awaits us, thus hurrying to get the dishes out of the way as if they were a nuisance, then we are not washing the dishes to wash the dishes. What's more, we are not alive during the time we are washing the dishes. In fact, we are completely incapable of realizing the miracle of life while standing at the sink. If we can't wash the dishes, chances are we won't be able to drink our tea either. While drinking the cup of tea, we will only be thinking of other things, barely aware of the cup in our hands. Thus, we are sucked away into the future, and we are incapable of actually living 1 minute of life. Whoa. I struggle with being where I am, and I'm definitely one to rush through the dishes. I'm also one to be lying on a beach and still feel a sense of anxiety or like, what's next? Are we on track for the schedule of the day? Like, if I can't relax while washing the dishes, I won't be able to relax while I'm lying on the beach. And so I think it's a good moment to say, okay, sure, we don't have a dishwasher, but also this is just another moment of my life like any other. And if I can be present here, then I can teach myself to be present elsewhere. So it could actually be a really beautiful thing. So I think I'm gonna chop the quote down a little bit just to make it fit more easily. And then put it right there. So I have to look at it every time I wash the dishes and remember this. The final boss of this kitchen makeover was the wall across from the banquette seating. At first we were thinking about doing a long shelf with hanging plants, but we just had a kind of a traumatic shelf hanging experience in the living room and we didn't really want to go down that road, so we considered other options. Another idea was just to pick a large piece of art and call it a day. I was eyeing this Kandinsky print or maybe doing a retro Art Deco poster. Both felt like they could work in this kitchen with this color scheme. But then we went to a local antique store and found something so much better, this epic shelving unit, and we used the good old skateboard dolly trick to get it home. In our original Nook setup, we had this IKEA shelf, which was pretty ugly, but it was serving the purpose of adding more pantry storage. Even though this kitchen looks like it has a lot of storage, most of it is actually quite hard to reach, and I'm tall. The shelving unit is definitely more farm style rather than coastal, but where we're living is actually kind of a blend of those two things, so I think it grounds our silly little theme back into reality with a sense of place. Let's just relax. Okay, we've got 3 frames. We're gonna get a little crafty. Trying to resist the urge to buy new paint, because we have paint. We have paint at home. This one, I think I'm just gonna go like dark blue. This one, we're gonna rip off a Lulu and Georgia style. I will put it on the screen. I want to do stripes, probably the width of this painter's tape I have. And there's a little hack I found where you paint everything one color, put the tape on, and then you paint over the open spaces again with the original paint color. The idea is that if the paint bleeds underneath the tape, then it's the correct color on that side. It's a little hard to explain, and I don't even think you need to fully understand it to apply it. So I'm gonna try that. Hopefully that'll help, because there are some grooves here with the wood. Before, this pastel kitchen was a bit of a blank slate with hardly any counter space, no dishwasher, and minimal pantry storage. We had a small seating area in the Nook, but it was mostly just functional. After a bit of thrifting, creativity, and elbow grease, this kitchen has been transformed into our funky little Miami Beach diner. It's the kind of place I want to host my friends for a weekend coffee or journal on a weekday morning as the sun pours in. The Miami comes through with the custom framed prints from our trip, the luscious palms, and the funky little fish knobs. We brought the yellow from the tiles into the Nook as the paint color and incorporated blue into the custom banquette cushions. Across from the banquette, a large farmhouse-style shelving unit handles dry storage, cookbooks, and jars, along with a panoramic boardwalk photo and a few favorite albums that fit the look. The room was made more functional with thrifted counter space, a hanging fruit basket, as well as magnetic shelving to hold our most used spices, which can accommodate our cooking habit. And when we're shedding a tear, doing all of those dishes, we can read our quote about mindfulness and be reminded to be present in another moment of our lives. Is this kitchen completely unrecognizable? Maybe not, but it feels really good to be in here, and I hope that your takeaway is that a little bit of effort, even in a rental, can make the time you spend here that much more special. But how much did it all cost? Let's round the numbers. So from least to most expensive, let's add up all the costs associated with this project. The paint for the frames was free. The frames were free. You can call it cheating, you can call it girl math, but I think if you source something from underneath your bed, then it is free. The frame for the quote was $1.50 at the thrift store. The baskets for dry goods were $5, so $2.50 each. The fish knobs were $15.58 for two. I ordered those from UK on Etsy, and they took forever to get here. So I was planning on trying them out and then doing all the knobs, but one, that's not going to happen. And two, they're pretty wide, and so my knobs are quite close together, so they would have like banged faces, for lack of a better term. So we don't want that. This boardwalk picture that's like a film panoramic, $12 at the thrift store, already framed. The staple gun, I bought a staple gun to do the cushions, and I'm hoping to use it again in the future. I'm a proud owner of a staple gun now. Magnetic shelves for the spices on the side of the fridge. Those are the best. The whole backside is magnetic. Highly recommend. The prints for the photos themselves were about $30 because Austin got them printed locally. The fruit basket and all its hanging hardware were $35, and I'm obsessed with it. It's fun to interact with the fruit basket. The massive shelving unit was $50. The fabric was $50, and we have a lot extra. The cushions, $30 each. So we got the 2-inch cushion and the 3-inch cushion, which I like. I wouldn't want the 3-inch on both, and I think the 2-inch might be a little thin for the seat. The butcher block was $100. I hope to carry it with me for a long time. The paint to paint the room was $170 because I had to buy 2 cans of paint because I got the color wrong the first time, but it acted as an incredible primer for the second coat, so it's okay. And finally, the table and banquette seating combo was $350. So that brings our grand total to $924.08. I'll take it. It is a lot when you add up every little thing, but you know, that's how life goes. You end up getting a lot of small things. And I like this kitchen now. Oh, it's fun to look through this green hat. I've done one more of these videos in the dining room, so I'll put that on the screen if you want to go watch it, if you missed it. And in that video, I did this little bit where I had you pick which curtains you like the best. And when I was posting it, I was like, man, this is gonna be kind of embarrassing if nobody responds. But tons of people responded, and it was really cute. And I think it's cool to find the other people on the internet who like to spend their free time evaluating curtains.